Finn, what's going on? Thanks for
Ca-
joining us.
Caroline, thanks for having me on. Good to see you.
Of course. I saw you take a sip of, are you drinking coffee or tea?
I'm actually drinking coffee in one hand. I got tea in the other hand, Irish tea,
Wow.
and I got a
That's,
water over here just in case for emergencies.
wow. Tea and coffee. I've never, that's a lethal combo.
Well, I like to be prepared, so whatever I feel like taking a sip of, I feel like some coffee now, I'll just have a little sip.
That's amazing. Good for you. I bet if I drank coffee and tea at the same time, I'd be running around the entire day, like nonstop.
Trust me, I'm going to be running around all day, climbing the walls.
Finn, how have you and your family been doing during this time?
Uh, Thankfully, my family are doing good. I haven't seen them since Christmas. They're all in Ireland, and I'm kind of landlocked here in the United States. But my father did have coronavirus.
Really?
So, but yeah, he came through it, and he was okay. And thankfully, the symptoms weren't too great, but or too severe. But yeah, everyone's good.
Oh, well, I'm happy he made a good recovery and that everyone's healthy and well. It must have been a little
Yeah,
scary for you.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, Finn, you've been a top performer on SmackDown, on Raw. Now you're back to being a top performer on NXT. What has that transition been like for you?
Oh, it's been a difficult transition. The idea of going back to NXT was something that, I kind of wanted to sink my teeth into. I felt like I was getting a little bit, perhaps inconsistent on Raw and inconsistent on SmackDown with regards to my performances. And, I wanted to push myself against who I consider some of the best talent in the world and guys that I'd never been in the ring with. I'd been in the ring with, the Raw and SmackDown guys every night for a couple of years. And there was this new crop of NXT talent that, I knew could push me to the next level. So it was very much a selfish move in the sense of, wanting to grow as a performer in the ring. So I wanted to push myself against these guys and prove myself that, I can still go. And, I think it's been a very successful, 10 months since I returned to NXT, and I feel better than ever in the ring right now.
Oh, no, I don't think it's selfish at all. I think that the moment you feel like you've stopped growing, that's when, there are problems. You always have to be on a quest for growth. So I actually really commend you on that move and fighting for it. Since you started your career in WWE with NXT, did you feel going back there now you had a certain level of comfort? I hear that sometimes the NXT fans are very, very different than what the Raw and SmackDown fans might be like. So did you have a certain level of comfort going back to the black and gold brand that you may have not had at the beginning of your career?
Well, NXT has changed dramatically in my two, experiences at the brand. And I feel like, when I was there for my first run, I feel like it was very much a us against the world, up and coming kind of rebellious attitude. But when I returned to NXT, it was very much a established brand, and it had its own completely separate identity than when I left. And that was thanks to, the hard work of all these guys for the last 3 years. So if anything, I felt more uncomfortable returning because, I was now the alien guy, coming into, an environment that all these other guys had established. And now I'm the guy coming back, and everyone's looking at me saying, you got to prove yourself now, So, there was I felt a lot of pressure on myself in the sense of wanting to prove myself to everyone. And, it definitely wasn't a comfortable experience. Obviously, the fans are very receptive in NXT, and they were, but, that's they're happy to see you, but once they see you, you got to prove yourself to them. And, that's what I had to do every night. And then, of course, the world completely changes, and that aspect of the fans are taken out of it. And then it's just, you've got to prove yourself against your opponent. And every night, going out there on NXT to prove yourself, it's not easy. It's a challenge every night. And something that a lot of people don't realize with this run at NXT was the first time you were seeing me, lock up with these guys on TV. It was actually the first time I'd ever locked up with them. So like that's a very unique feeling, and it's a very it makes you, it's an adrenaline dump because like you're just like firing on all cylinders, like trying to figure out how this guy moves, what his nuances are, what his characteristics are in the ring, his footwork. And it's something that, really makes you like focus and concentrate in a different way. When you get in the past, I was so familiar with working with Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, Shinsuke Nakamura. Then I go to Raw and SmackDown, and it's Bobby Lashley, Jinder, Seth every night, and you get to learn how these guys move, how they work, and their style in the ring. But then I'm cast into, this new era of NXT, and first of all, I'm under a lot of pressure to perform and live up to the expectations of Finn Balor's back in NXT. But also, I'm having to live up to my own expectations of, facing myself against Johnny Gargano for the first time on a takeover. Damian Priest, first time on a takeover. Matt Riddle, first time on a takeover. So it was very much a feeling, of excitement, but pressure. But, it's been a wild 10 months.
Well, you want to talk about putting yourself in a position of growth. I feel like that's it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then obviously, 2 weeks ago, we had the Iron Man match, which was I've never wrestled in an Iron Man match before. B, it was in a 4-way Iron Man match, which I don't think has ever been done before. So, that was another first for me. And going that hour with those guys was grueling. It took a couple of days for me to get out of bed after that one.
Oh, I bet. Now, Finn, tell me, are you an athlete or a superstar that gets stressed or nervous before these types of situations?
I wouldn't say stressed or nervous. I'd say there's, a certain element of anxiety, in the build up to the match. But, once you go through the curtain, all that pressure, all that anxiety disappears, and you're just very much flowing in the moment. So obviously, you want to live up to the expectations, and you want to live up to your own, idea of, how the match should go. But I feel like once you're out there and performing, everything disappears and you're very much in the moment.
Well, I think you've proved yourself to not only the fans, but to you yourself as well, becoming 2-time NXT champion. I mean, that's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did that moment feel like for you?
Yeah, very full circle moment. 4.5 years between NXT championship reigns. Obviously, as I said, the brand has changed. The world has changed. I feel I have changed. I'm very excited about how this journey is going to develop with regards to the second run as NXT champion. I feel like, in the past, I've been very guilty of trying to please too many people and not please myself. So, I'm very, very aware of that, and very focused on making sure that, if I keep myself happy and I have, dignity in the ring with regards how I want to perform and how I want to carry myself, I feel like that's the most important thing to being successful. So that's what I'm focused on right now.
Strong roster in NXT, very strong. I love watching the black and gold brand. Who do you think should challenge you next for your championship? Who would you love to face and defend your title against?
Well, Cameron Grimes is someone who's up and coming. He's doing great. Bronson Reed, I think, is something special. These are two guys, Bronson I've never been in the ring with. Cameron Grimes maybe twice before. Someone who I think has an incredible future. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, I know they're a tag team, but if those guys were singles competitors, I would love to be in the ring with those. So there's a huge roster, but I've been fighting for 20 years to be champion, so it's time for people to start fighting to face the champion. So I'm wide open. Whoever wants a title shot, they got it, but they better be ready to fight.
Amazing. All right, last question for you, Finn, before I let you go. What's next for Finn Balor in your quest and growth in NXT as a WWE superstar? What's next for you?
What's next? Well, I just became NXT champion for the second time, so I'm planning on defending this title with my life for as long as possible. Continue to grow as a performer. It's been a strong 2020 so far in the ring for me. Carry that steam into 2021. Hopefully, someday return to Raw, return to SmackDown, return to WrestleMania. But right now, I'm very much focused on, being NXT champion and hopefully the goal, the first run was 292 days. For me, I want to beat that reign.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, best of luck to you, Finn Balor. You have one of my favorite entrances in WWE. It's always a pleasure to watch you in the ring and, of course, when you come out. So thank you so much. Thank you for your time, and stay healthy and stay safe.
Thank you, Caroline. See you.
Thank you.